Hello everyone, how are you all doing? The candles are on and we're ready to chat all about OCD. So what I want to talk about today is rolling with uncertainty and that relationship with uncertainty and that constant needing to know. Because when you look at when you're stuck with OCD or when you're triggered, look when you're triggered right now and really think, what is it that I'm needing to know? I'm needing an answer on, whether it's an event in the past, whether it's a future, I must know that something is going to go well, or I must make sure that I am totally planned. Maybe you have a big event coming up and an OCD is latched to it because maybe you fear being underprepared, maybe you fear being judged, maybe you feel like you're going to mess it all up. It could be a career opportunity, whatever it may be, and there's quite intense pressure, intense stress all around it. Take a look at how you're viewing the uncertainty around that. Me personally, the uncertainty was around the past for me, the not knowing. How do you know what you did, what you said, what people think of you? It used to go after drunken moments when I couldn't quite remember what I'd done. Anything that was slightly foggy, anything that I was slightly unsure of, used to go after when I was younger, during teenage years and childhood years. Used to target those kind of events when I couldn't quite remember, couldn't quite get clarity on what had happened. And when you think why that happens, is because my relationship with uncertainty wasn't a great one. I needed to know. I just needed certainty. I had to make sure. I remember many times saying to my now wife, when I was confessing or seeking reassurance from her, I was like, yeah, but I need to know. I have to have an answer. I can't not know, right? And there lies the problem. There lies the exact problem as to where I was going wrong. So we have to get very comfortable not knowing on this journey, because OCD is going to target everything, right? There's nothing that it's not going to go after. Anything that you're slightly unsure of is going to go after that. OCD can make it feel as real as it can get. And the only way around it is not by trying to seek certainty. It's not by one day hoping and praying for an answer and hoping that finally you find out what happened or what will happen or anything that you're uncertain about. Forget it. You won't be able to get to the bottom of what you're chasing. Instead, the only way, and this is the only way that worked for me, and this is what we coach others, is even if whatever the thing is that you're scared of, whatever the thing is that you're uncertain around, looking at the worst case scenario of that particular thing, event in the past, event in the future, event in the now, whatever it is, whatever you could be uncertain of, whether you're going to be stuck forever, whatever it is, changing that relationship with uncertainty, no longer trying to solve, no longer trying to work it out, no longer trying to break it, or trying to get rid of it, or rid yourself of it, or trying to somehow one day seek the answer that you're going to get, finally figure it all out and be at peace. No. So changing the relationship with that is absolutely vital. But you've got to try and bring down the solving. You've got to try and disengage with the solving. But you've got to look at the beliefs as driving that solving of certainty, right? So, I must know, I have to know, I need to know, I've got to have an answer, I must have an answer. And if I don't have an answer, then I can't move forward, then I can't go on, right? Remember this, when you're triggered, you're like a possessed addict. You're going to do whatever you possibly can to get the answer you're seeking, to get certainty, just to make sure, just to ensure something doesn't happen or hasn't happened, right? A lot of control around the past, the present, or the future, just to get that certainty on something. Forget it. That's not going to work. OCD is going to keep moving. It's going to keep weaving its way around it. It's going to keep finding different ways to leave you stuck. Okay? That's what it does. So, looking at the worst case scenario, even if the worst case scenario had happened, changing your perspective on that, looking to see how you could break that down. Let's take, for example, an event in the past. How could you come to terms with not knowing an event in the past? Well, for a start, you're never, ever gonna know. Whatever is done is done. It cannot be changed. And OCD knows that. That's the thing. It knows that whatever it is cannot be changed. But your internal pursuit to find out exactly what happened is fueling that OCD cycle. It's keeping it locked on. It's fueling that flame, a bit like the candle There, the flame in that candle, that's the OCD cycle. The more you seek certainty, the more you chase it, and the more you engage, that flame gets more and more violent. Okay, and that's what it's like with OCD. So looking at your perspective on whatever the thing is you're uncertain about, how are you viewing that? Are you catastrophizing it? Are you super rigid on it? Are you saying, well, if that has happened, then I'm done. That's it. My life is over. I can't move forward. I couldn't deal with the worst case scenario. I couldn't deal with the consequences. There's no point in living anymore. You being that extreme, you being that catastrophic around the worst case scenario. That's going to take breaking down. But you got to remember, when we apply acceptance, it's not radical acceptance. It's not like accept it and get on with it. You can't do that. Like if I chopped your leg off and just said, accept it, get on with it, you wouldn't be able to do it. But you could come to terms gradually and accept life with one leg. With time and patience and practice, that is totally doable. That is realistic to come to terms with that. But in the moment, you can't just accept it. Acceptance isn't like this thing that just happens like that. Okay? So when it targets uncertain events, it's going towards, right, okay, right now I can't accept it, and right now I'm accepting that I can't accept, but over time, with practice and patience, I'm striving to get to a place where I've unconditionally accepted the worst case scenario, even if it was real, right? So it's looking at whatever the worst case scenario is. Of course, we break that down in one-to-one calls and just trying to chip away at that, change your whole outlook on whatever you deem as the worst case scenario around this particular uncertain event. And obviously, the relationship with uncertainty as well. And we change that by practicing wearing the uncertainty, bringing down all the solving, anything you're doing to rid yourself of uncertainty, right? That needs to go. If you're seeking reassurance from your wife, your husband, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, forget it. Because when you do that, you're doing the exact opposite of accepting not knowing, because you're seeking an answer. You're trying to get to the bottom. You're trying to solve something, right? That is the opposite of embracing uncertainty and rolling with not knowing. Okay, so you've got to look at all those compulsions that you are doing in order to seek certainty and get rid of them. Keep them to a very, very minimum. In an ideal world, get rid of them. Okay, they need to go. Okay, because OCD sufferers cannot be trusted by just keeping it to a minimum. They got to go, those compulsions. Of course, you can't do it like that, but we've got to try and bring them down, cut them out, because reassurance, any form of certainty seeking, is never the answer. Googling, a massive one. ChatGPT. Oh, let me just make sure. Mine got so bad. I remember looking out for sort of CCTV footage of, oh, is there a guy that did this? Sort of trying to see if I did something wrong as I walked past somebody, or when I was drunk. Did I do this when I walked home? Oh, let me just check CCTV footage. Googling online, looking for news articles, just trying to get certainty on whether I may have done something wrong. All right, asking friends, calling friends the next day. Did I do this? Was I all right? What happened? Can you make sure? Was everything all right? Did they like me? Sending subtle text messages to see if they, oh, did you have a good night? To see if they said, yeah, I had a great night. Oh, that's my reassurance. But then OCD would move. It would find something else. He'd be like, oh yeah, but what if they're only saying that to be nice to you and you actually did something wrong? Oh shit. So no matter what form of compulsion I did to get rid of the uncertainty, it still didn't work. I used to hate things lingering over me. I used to hate things unresolved. I needed that closure all the time. Like there was something that was just in the air. Like for example, let's say somebody wanted to, let's say I went into my old workplace, right? And my boss would say, Sam, I want to speak to you, speak to me after work. Then my whole day at work would be like, oh my God, what do they think? What do they think of me? Because my relationship with uncertainty was such a poor one. I would rather be told, what is it that I've done? What can I do about it? I didn't like the uncertainty, but with OCD, you got to get very, very comfortable with that uncertainty and practicing wearing that. You practice wearing it, not only just by sitting with it and embracing all the symptoms and wearing it all and bringing it all for the ride. You've got to cut those compulsions, because every time you do a compulsion to get rid of the uncertainty, you're then fueling that cycle like that flame in the candle. You're keeping it burning, you're keeping it burning, you're keeping it burning. Okay, because you're showing your brain that you need certainty. You're signifying to your brain that uncertainty is a threat and that you need it, and that you need it, and you need more of it, more of it, more of it. No, okay? But when you cut uncertainty seeking, when you cut the compulsion that you do to seek certainty, the anxiety will spike, the discomfort will go through the roof. That is what will happen, okay? That's the reality of it, okay? So understanding that is absolutely vital. You're never going to be able to be certain on this particular thing. OCD will keep moving the goalposts. It will keep finding something else. And even if in an ideal world you got certainty on whatever it is you were seeking, it's an illusion. Why? Because OCD's already found something else. And you can't get 100% certainty in what's happened, right? You can't get it. Because how do you truly know what happened? You don't, right? So you've got to try and change your view on that particular thing rather than seeking the desired certainty. Forget it. You won't be able to do it. And if you don't change that relationship with uncertainty and look at all your beliefs around it and you continue to do certainty-seeking compulsions, then you're going to be stuck for a long old time, I'm afraid. OCD loves the uncertainty. So we've got to try and really look at how we're viewing that. Okay, OCD will nestle just out of reach. It will lock on with that grey area. Oh, I don't know. I don't really know what happened. I was drunk. I can't quite remember. Fuck. Oh, I was 13 years old. I can't quite remember what happened. Oh, I can't remember what were my intentions. What did I do that? OCD is going to really nestle in just there where you can't quite get certainty. So I cannot highlight enough how important it is in changing that relationship with it. Okay, that is key. And you can't do that immediately, but you've got to try and practice it. I hear it all the time, whereas people are trying to get better with uncertainty, they're trying to cut the compulsions, and they message me and say, but I just had this thing, I just needed to know. And I say, what compulsion did you do? Oh, I just made sure that wasn't going to happen. Oh, I just made sure, I asked them to repeat something just to make sure I didn't do anything wrong. And I said, well, then OCD is going to keep firing, I'm afraid. OCD is going to lock on forever because you're chasing that certainty. You feel like you're getting it. OCD moves, it weaves its way around it, and you're stuck in that same position. And you're kicking the can up the road. You're not actually getting under the fear of not knowing. You're just kicking the can up the road until the next event. OCD is too advanced for that. It's too complex for that. You cannot fool OCD. As soon as you feel like you've got certainty on one thing, it's already found the next thing to latch to that you're uncertain of. It's already one step ahead. So until you change your perspective on not knowing, and then change your relationship on not knowing by cutting those compulsions and wearing all the discomfort, then you're just going to go around in circles. Okay? Uncertainty was something that I really, really struggled to deal with personally. I just needed to know. I had to make sure. I had to get to the bottom of it. I had to replay it again. I had to solve it again. I had to just be 100% sure that nothing was wrong, that I didn't do anything wrong, or that everything was going to be okay. And I'd feel like I'd get it. I'd feel like I'd grab that certainty and everything would be okay. And you're talking within seconds, minutes if I was lucky. OCD had already weaved. It already found another way round. I was in the same position, getting more and more frustrated because I thought, oh, I've been there before. I thought I got an answer on it. For fuck's sake, I thought I was there. And OCD would lead me down the garden path once more until I refrained from seeking reassurance, from finding out an answer, disengaged with the solving, and broke down the worst case scenario vigorously on paper, again and again and again, not in the heat of the moment, but disputing, reading, taking a look at what is you're actually scared of, and coming to terms with that via unconditional self-acceptance, even if the worst case was true, knowing that acceptance isn't agreement, and even if whatever it is you're scared of in the past, there is absolutely nothing you can do about that today. So any form of solving is totally unproductive, totally wasteful, and leaving it in the past, leaving the uncertainty just to linger, practicing wearing it, and taking your time as you bring down those compulsions and change those perspectives around it. You can get there. You really can, guys. You're not alone with this dodgy relationship of uncertainty, but it needs to be worked on in order to overcome OCD, because it thrives off uncertainty and your relationship with it. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave a like. If you are interested in one-to-one calls, please email phil@ocdrecovery.com. You can get in touch with me, my name's Sam, and all the other coaches here, Nick, Rob, Elliot, Momin, and Gemma, and we can book you in as soon as we can on our schedules. Guys, take care and roll with that uncertainty.